As of recording, Mixtape's been out for less than a week, but it has over 2,200 reviews, and it's skewed very positive on the Steam page, with 88% of the reviews being positive. This is kind of shocking since the game came out of nowhere. I hadn't even heard of it up until controversy started brewing, and the more people spoke out about it, the more people jumped up in its defense, including a lot of influential and powerful people and organizations within the industry. Everyone from the Sam Lake to the Xbox brand to countless game journalists are praising Mixtape and defending it almost as a pretense, giving it 10 out of 10s, calling it an amazing experience. It feels fake, and I'm gonna be blunt, I think it is to a degree. Reading through Steam discussions, Steam recommendations, it feels like one review after another, one comment after another, one discussion after another is just something pumped out by a chatbot. This does not feel like the natural starting point of an indie game's launch, especially one that could afford to license such pricey songs for its soundtrack. It has me suspicious. The game itself I'm not too concerned about. It seems like a decent visual novel. And you don't always need breathtaking gameplay with that sort of experience, as long as the visuals, music, and writing hold up well. It's probably fine for what it is. What worries me is just how it was launched, the impact it's having, and just the way I don't know. It feels artificial, it feels fake. This is not an indie game, despite what effort it's making to come across as such. Like, Twofold is an indie visual novel that doesn't have much traction. Onirism is an indie first-person shooter that had some traction, but again, not as much. This is a game that's less than a week out and has over 2,000 reviews, leaning very positive. Countless 10 out of 10s from game outlets, DualShockers, IGN, Gaming.net. I mean, they list all the scores on the accolades section. It's crazy. And again, I just don't buy it. I don't know about the quality of the game itself. It's probably fine, like I said, but I think there's definitely an effort to push this game. I don't know how well connected the developers are, but if you read through the discussion posts and the artwork, everything else, the conversations feel fake. It feels like one chatbot talking to another, with these pre-written messages about how the game spoke to them, how they're in their 40s, reminiscing on their youth, and how this really speaks to them as a 90s kid. And again, I just don't see it. This could be fine, but this controversy, people are mad about this, and to a degree I do get it. I think if this was just launched as another game, if this wasn't trying to claim to be some humble indie game, I think it would just be kind of dismissed and moved on. But the preemptive defense and the sheer astroturfing it's gotten has gotten people angry. Which brings me to the title of this video. Is it going to start GamerGate 2.0? Is this going to cause some massive rift between different sects of gamers and journalists and developers? It's not that one doesn't already exist. I guess it's, will this make things worse? And to me, I think that's all going to depend on the developers and the defenders of the game. Because I've had my suspicions. I think this is a very artificial launch. I don't think a normal indie title would get this much hype, this much defense, and this much traction. Especially when gameplay-wise it isn't even that remarkable. From everything I've seen, if you just watch the game on a YouTube video, you've basically gotten the gameplay experience. It's not even like a visual novel where there are branching paths and choices. Twofold had 2 romance routes with different side routes for friendships. This just seems to have one consistent story across the board. And again, if you just want a visual story with good music, that seems fine, but does that really deserve a 10 out of 10? Does it really stand above the likes of maligned games like God Hand or Kane and Lynch 2, which seem to have had much longer lasting legacies than this likely will have? Or rather, longer-lasting positive legacies, I can't see Mixtape bringing a lot of good discourse and interest to the fold. The models look like they came out of Brink. The story seems like it's just kind of about teenage rebellion in the 90s. It seems like it's a lot of pandering. I don't know. I think, though, people defending it need to choose their approach carefully. I don't expect the developers to come out and be like, yeah, we botted this. We got tons and tons of accounts to bolster the game. We got connections with developers and game journalists to defend it. That would never happen. But I think going on the offensive will just make this whole controversy worse. I don't think there's anything wrong with sticking up for your creation, but it feels like it's almost inflammatory to a degree. Like they want to piss people off. They're just mocking the people who might have an issue with this very artificial launch to a game that is definitely not indie from the way they throw money around. As for what it says about the gaming industry as a whole, I mean, this sadly is business as usual. This is just, I guess, a very connected developer tossing money around and getting 10 out of 10 scores left and right. And that's kind of how things are these days. AAA is more or less dead, so people are trying to claim to be indie to be fresh. But that doesn't really work. Indie isn't just a label. There's a certain quality to it, where you can only go all in on like one or two features. So you do everything you can to make those parts of the game memorable. And that doesn't seem like Mixtape. It's a weird battleground for a culture war. I don't know how far it's going to go. I hope that things are hashed out one way or another. Because I'm already seeing this all over my Twitter feed, on YouTube, on Steam. It's being pushed everywhere. And I think part of it is just the campaign to get the game more widely known, more widespread. I think another part is the pushback against that. And I guess both sides will be button heads until something breaks. And if that happens, then yeah, I think we're getting a GamerGate 2.0 situation, with a lot of hate thrown around and just a lot of bitterness on all fronts, and game journalists continuing to be awful people, but nothing much would have changed there, really. It's just a shame developers get caught up in it. I don't know what Sam Lake is thinking with this. I don't know, maybe he's into walking simulators. I just don't like artificiality, if that makes sense. I think that with a humbler launch, Mixtape would have just been regarded as a pretty quirky walking simulator visual novel kind of game. But with the sheer efforts to push it and to herald it as some game of the year, especially in a year where Pragmata and Resident Evil Requiem came out, I don't know. I don't like that. I think that it's trying to insist upon itself way too much. But what do you all think? Have you heard about the controversy about Mixtape? Have you heard about the pushback against it? Have you gone through the Steam page, read the discussions, checked out the artwork, everything? Bear in mind, this game hasn't even been out for a week yet. It's gotten more reviews than some indie devs would dream of. And this claims to be an indie game, but I really, really doubt that. Either this is an industry plant, or this is a first game by a developer who's absolutely loaded and can buy a lot of influence. That's what I think. I don't expect disclosures from them, but I do think that easing off on the inflammatory stuff would probably make things better for everybody. We can agree to disagree. Mixtape isn't for everybody. For those who have enjoyed it, I hope you continue to enjoy it. And for those who don't, there are other good visual novels out there. Again, I'd recommend Twofold or First Snow if you're into that sort of thing, but with more choices. And if you want more of a branching story, Katawa Shoujo is a classic, and it's free. But those are my thoughts on a very messy developing situation that hopefully won't get worse, but knowing how things are, probably will get worse. Thank you all for watching. Take care.